As for the bats of the Titans, Austin Burton will be the leadoff hitter, followed by Tatum Martin. Brock Hopkins will bat third. Taggart Hamblin will bat cleanup. Easton Hamblin will bat fifth. Jake Hopkins batting sixth. Isaac Turley batting seventh. Kyson Curtis batting eighth. And Dawson Raymond batting ninth. As we're set to get action underway with the delivery from Watts. Ball one just to the outside. Both teams arrived here almost 3 to 4 hours ago now as they had to wait for the conclusion of our game between Bingham and Pleasant Grove. Bingham won that one 10-3. Our earlier game between Riverton and Westlake, the earlier game off the 1-1 count. Riverton won that one 4-3. The loser of this game will go on to play Riverton. And the winner of this game will be in action tomorrow at 4:30, awaiting the winner of that loser's bracket game between the loser of this one and Riverton. 1-2 the count. Watts locked in early. Burton in yesterday's action against Riverton late last night. Was in action a lot and had the biggest play of the game for the Titans. He goes down swinging here after yesterday launching a 3-run homer into left field. But Burton retired. It's the first time he struck out once late in the game yesterday, but as I mentioned, had a lot of success to reach base on 2 different occasions, and then of course had that monstrous home run that changed the complexion of that game against Riverton. Syracuse here after upsetting Riverton, along with a few other upsets they've nabbed along the way. American Fork here after defeating Westlake 9-3 yesterday. 7-6, the Syracuse victory over the Silverwolves that landed them in this position. Tatum Martin, the catcher, now up. Martin struck out in his previous plate appearance. Before that, a walk. Low delivery on the ball. As I mentioned with Martin, the strikeout on the first plate appearance, the following one a walk, then was retired on a bunt but did advance his teammate. Reached base safely on a well-hit grounder between first and third, and then struck out in his 5th and final plate appearance. 0-2 the count currently. Watts looking for his second strikeout, won't get it on the high delivery there. Dax Watts looking for back-to-back strikeouts for American Fork. Martin awaits the delivery. And that went just off the zone for the 2-2 count. Hopkins on deck, the second baseman, awaits an opportunity to face off against Watts. Martin grounds it, but it's fielded cleanly by Walker at short, and he gets it over to first for the second out of the inning. Hopkins now due up. Second baseman walked in 3 of his 4 plate appearances today, and the only one he didn't walk, he was hit by a pitch. So Hopkins frequently occupied the base pads in yesterday's action. In one of his base appearances, he was thrown out at first on a successful put-out attempt. One-0 the count, or excuse me, 1-1 after that strike delivery. Watts finds the zone once again. It's 1 strike away from bringing the Cavemen in and to the batter's box. But first, he's got to find the zone with one last time. Hopkins Cracks one into right field. Waiting on it is Pace, and Davin Pace brings it in. 3 up, 3 down just as quickly. That's the top of the first, bottom of the first, on deck at UCCU Field. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind. Syracuse and American Fork facing off for an opportunity to place themselves in the winner's bracket. And then they would be just one victory away from the championship game, awaiting the outcome. From the top of the bracket, we'll have Skyridge and Mountain Ridge, our final game of the night. That one's scheduled for 7 o'clock since we are 20 minutes away from that. That's obviously not going to be the case, but we'll update you on that later game as it follows. For the Titans, it'll be Tatum Martin playing catcher. Jake Hopkins gets to start on the mound. Hamblin at first, Hopkins at second, Turley at third, Burton at short, Kyson Curtis in left field, Dawson Raymond in center field, and Jake Moore in right field, facing off against CJ Mascaro, the leadoff hitter, with the designated hitter, Ryder Robinson, on deck. Joshua Rojas batting third, with Dax Watts, the pitcher, batting cleanup. Cooper Jones batting fifth, followed by Crew Ingersoll, who will bat sixth. Coleman Perry will bat seventh, and Gavin Schoonover and Davin Pace round out the order. 2-0 the count early. Mascaro in yesterday's action grounded out in his first plate appearance. 3 straight balls now. In his second, launched a ground rule double into center field, then rocketed a line drive into right field. And in his last at-bat, boomed 2 RBIs in to help solidify the American Fork victory over Westlake. So it was a productive day for Mascaro. Also gave in some strong pitching on the mound. He skies this one into right field. Back on it, drifting towards the fence and unable to make a play. Mascaro with the home run. The leadoff hitter making things happen for American Fork right off the bat. 1-0. He took 3 straight balls, 1 strike, and then blasted it out of UCCU ballpark. Mascaro making plays for his team. Ryder Robinson, the designated hitter, has a tough act to follow after Mascaro's home run. Robinson in yesterday's action flew out into right field. Then launched a line drive into right field, boomed one into left field too, and walked. So reached base in all 3 of his final plate appearances. This is an American Fork team that fell in the championship game last year to Riverton. It would have been a rematch had Riverton been able to complete a late comeback and defeat Syracuse in last night's late game action that didn't wrap up till 11 o'clock. Robinson fouls it off the count at 2-2. The 2-2 delivery is way outside. So first time we'll have reached full count today between a Syracuse pitcher and a Cavemen batter. Robinson, the DH, awaiting the delivery. This one ripped into the opposite bullpen in right field. The full count delivery, we'll do it again. And just outside, so Robinson via the walk, heading over to first. Joshua Rojas will be due up in a moment. Rojas, the catcher. Rojas in yesterday's action flew out to right field. Also launched one into left field. This one boomed into the outfield. Back on it. It's not going to reach the fence, and able to make the deep grab is Dawson Raymond. First out of the inning. So Dax Watts now due up after Rojas flew out to center field. That one sounded great coming off the bat. Watts, the pitcher. In yesterday's action, obviously didn't pitch, but still was involved in the field. Watts grounded out to third in his first plate appearance, then flew out to right field, then struck out. But then blasted one into left field to bring in 3 runs late in the game. Oh, 0-1 the count. High delivery that time, nearly took Watts' head off. Made a little limbo move to avoid it. The count goes to 1-1. Strike 2 delivered by Jake Hopkins. The Syracuse team 16-14 on the season, while Mountain Ridge 19-7. For the winner of this game to not reach the 6A championship, they would have to lose 2 games in a row to whoever emerges from the loser's bracket. That ball squeezes off the glove of Martin. So able to successfully steal the second is Ryder Robinson. Two the count after the outside delivery. Pitcher on pitcher action. Watts goes to full count. Hopkins looking for his first K of the day. Checks behind, refocuses attention to home plate, and delivers a ball. So 2 on base for the Titans. Excuse me, 2 base runners given up by the Titans. 2 Cavemen now on base. Cooper Jones now due up. After Watts was able to walk over. Still just 1 out in the inning. 2 runners on base. Robinson at second. Watts at first at the moment. Could see a pinch runner coming in for him, though, as he is the pitcher. This ball pops straight up in the air. And it's just going to end up unplayable into the bleachers. Jones in action yesterday. Reached base on a shot into shallow center field, then launched one to left field, and then advanced via the walk. Mascaro, Rojas, and Robinson, Watts, all making huge plays for their teams early on in yesterday's action. Everyone's gotten off to a pretty strong start here. This one's fouled off into the net. 0-2 the count goes. See some communication going on. If it looks like American Fork players might have been saying something, or either way, not far enough back, but set to resume action with the 0-2 count. Jones trying to avoid the strikeout. Hopkins looking for his first K of the day. This ball's fouled back. 0-2 the count. Hopkins ready to do it again. Hopkins thought about going for the pickoff at second, but nothing there. Ingersoll on deck, still just one out, 2 runners on. Hopkins delivers the first ball of the at-bat. This is an American Fork team that finished 11-4 in Region 3 play. As I mentioned, 19-7 overall in the season. As for the Titans, 9-9 in Region 1 play, but 16-4 on the season. And have gotten hot at the right time. This ground ball too hot to handle. More runs coming in for American Fork. As easily tapping home plate is Ryder Robinson. Jones with the RBI single. And was squeezed just under the glove of Hopkins at second. So 2 runs scored now for American Fork here early. Still just the 1 out. 2 runners on base once again. Ingersoll showed bunt. That one might have collided with a fan based on some reactions. Trevor Thomas, head coach of the Titans, 6 seasons. Yesterday was his 60th win, 88 career losses in total. Coach Ingersoll, though, 21 years, 365 wins, 173 losses. One and one the count. Jones to first, Watts over on third. No pinch runner came in for Watts, so the pitcher's staying in the game. Slightly high delivery that time. Makes it a 2-1 count. Hopkins looking for some momentum early. The fake pickoff attempt to third turns into an actual pickoff attempt down to first, but still unsuccessful. Ingersoll pinch hit late in the action in yesterday's game. Another opportunity to make a play here. Ingersoll grounds it, just ends up in foul territory. We'll redo the 2-2 pitch, or excuse me, now 2-2 the count after the foul off. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 runners on base, just 1 out. Hopkins. Full count once again on the outside delivery. Two to nothing, the current score. Ingersoll looking to keep the bats hot for the Cavemen. Syracuse looking to make a play for the Titans. This one's fouled off. Can't imagine anything in the outfield would allow Watts to score. And the outside delivery as Hopkins has walked Ingersoll. Bases are loaded. Coleman Perry now due up. Perry in yesterday's action struck out in his first plate appearance. Then launched a double after booming one into left field. Then flew out to second. Outside delivery there. 1-0 the count. That one nearly squeezes away from Martin, but he's able to trap it. American Fork weathered the weather delay early and now is bringing the storm on the Titans here in the bottom of the first. Perry. That low delivery does squeeze away, but once again, Martin quick to get on top of it. 3-0. So we're going to have a mound meeting coming up here. As Hopkins struggling a little bit. He's in danger of walking in what would be the third run of the game. 3-0 the count. Ingersoll at first. Watts in scoring position at third. And Jones also in scoring position at second. Taking a look at how both these teams reached the opportunity to compete in this contest. Syracuse defeated Granger 15-7 the first game and then 18-1 in the second. And then Syracuse took on the 3-seeded Fremont Silverwolves. And they were able to beat the Silverwolves after losing the first game. They fell in the first one. Fremont won the first, 9-0. But then the Silverwolves held on strong, 2-1 to claim the second. And then 6-2 in the final game. The Titans upset the Silverwolves. They beat Riverton in that thriller late last night, 7-6, to place themselves in the winner's bracket here. As for American Fork, they awaited the winner of Corner Canyon and West. It was the Chargers. American Fork then won the first game 2-1 before exploding in the second game for a 10-0 advantage. They would once again score over 8 runs, adding on 9 in their toppling of Westlake yesterday afternoon. Hopkins, fresh off his meeting on the mound, has walked in a run. 3-0 the deficit currently facing the Titans as Perry heads to first and Watts comes in. Gavin Schoonover now due up. Schoonover in yesterday's action grounded into a double play in his first at bat. Then he made it safely to first in his third at bat, but was retired on a fielder's choice. This one ripped into right field, but just going to end up in foul territory as we do see some Titans pitchers starting to get warm. Hopkins trying to get out of the first inning, still just 1 out. He's put himself in position, gotten a full count a couple of times, but just hasn't been able to close it. He's looking to close the deal here ahead in the count, 0-2. The high delivery there for ball 1. Schoonover fouls another off. Count remains 1-2. Hopkins and the Titans looking to turn things around in the bottom of the first. The 1-2 delivery. Hopkins well outside to even the count at 2. Pace on deck, and then we'll turn it back over to the top of the order with Mascaro, the home run man who opened things up, set to bat again. And it's another outside delivery, so now 3 straight balls. Hopkins frustrated. The left fielder yesterday, also the Titans starting quarterback. 3-2 the count, as we said. The scoreboard a little off. Out and outfield. Hopkins delivers a pitch inside, a high flyer. Hit into right field, giving chase and able to make the grab. It'll be a foot race home and able to win it for America. It's now a 4-0 differential, but there are 2 outs on the sack after that sacrifice fly. So Schoonover retired by Moore out in right field. Hopkins Finds the zone once again, facing off against Pace for the first time, the 9th batter in the order. They've nearly gone, and after this batter, they will have gone all the way around. Pace in yesterday's action reached first on a high-flying chopper and was retired on a diving grab line drive to second and brought in a run with a shot in the left field in his final appearance against the Thunder. 1-1 the count off the ball delivery from Hopkins. Perry at first, Ingersoll over on third. He was situated on second, able to tag up and make it over after Jones was able to tag up and score. 2-1 the count shifts on another off delivery from Hopkins. Once again, if by chance you are joining us looking for the Skyridge Mountain Ridge game, that will not get underway until later tonight. It will be 30 minutes after the conclusion of that one. So we could be looking at an 8:30 to 9 start, probably at the earliest, as we're still in the bottom of the first in this one. 2-1 the count, 2 outs. Davin Pace. A low delivery, caught in the middle, and going for second. It deflected off the glove. It's going to be a 5-0 advantage, and they'll have another runner in scoring position as Perry gets over to third. Everything going American Fork's way in the bottom of the first. Apologize for anyone just joining us now. 3-2 the full count here. It's been a productive inning for American Fork. Outside delivery, another walk. So Pace heads over to first, and Mascaro up again. Coach Thomas making his way out. This could be it for Hopkins potentially. And as they are making a pitching change, or potentially not, Hopkins talking things over. They could be shifting the positions though too, as Hopkins could be heading into left field where he normally resides. And Hopkins will head in, so we'll step away and give you the new numbers on the newest Titan on the mound when we return on KSL Sports Rewind. Welcome back inside to UCCU Ballpark. Caleb Wilson, the new pitcher on the mound for the Titans after Jake Hopkins struggled through the first 9 batters he faced. He gave up 5 runs. We apologize for some of our technical difficulties. Recapping the action so far, CJ Mascaro, who's now due up in his second, had a home run. He ripped into right field the last time we saw him. Ryder Robinson had the walk. Rojas was retired in center field. Then Watts walked on base. Jones brought in the first run of the day. On a ball, he rocketed into right field. Then Ingersoll with the walk. Perry also walked and brought in a run. Then Schoonover came in on the RBI, so 5 runs in total have now scored for the Cavemen. 2 outs, though, in the inning. 2 runners on base. It's Perry to third, Pace at second. Oh, 1 the count early. Mascaro rips another one high into left field. This one won't have the distance. Calling for it and eventually collecting it over in left field was Curtis to end the inning, but not before 5 runs were scored by American Fork. The second inning up next. Welcome back inside UCCU Ballpark. Robinson with a walk the last time we saw him. Caleb Wilson still on the mound after coming in to close out the previous inning. Count goes to 1-1 off that ball delivery. If you're just joining us, recapping that explosive scoring in the first inning we saw. It was a Mascaro home run. So we have a base hit here. It's fielded off the bounce cleanly by Hopkins, who retires Robinson at first. Josh Rojas now due up. Last time we saw Ross, he flew out to center field. He was the first out of the first inning. Cooper Jones drove in the first run of the day in Mascaro. Then Ingersoll reached base via the walk. And after that, we had Perry walk over to first. This one lifted in the left field. I believe it's just going to end up in foul territory. We had runs driven in by Jones, as I mentioned. Then Perry drove in one via the walk. Schoonover drove in another. So overall 5 runs. One and one the count. This ball's lifted into right center field, and it's going to at least be a double for Rojas as he gives chase. There's a long way to go for that throw. They will hold Rojas up at second, though. So a big-time hit from Joshua Rojas. As Rojas rocked one into right field for the double. Everyone from American Fork has either reached base now or driven in a run. The only one who hasn't reached base for them is Schoonover, but even in his fly out to right field, they brought in a run for the Cavemen. Caleb Wilson, the junior, 5'8", 160. This one pops straight up in the air. Looks like there might be a chance to make a play on it. Instead, it's going to end up by the fans. And a smash into the bleachers in front of us. Or the seats, not really bleachers here at UCCU Ballpark. One out. 0-1 the count off that ball. Watts facing off against Wilson. Pitcher-on-pitcher action here. Watts walked in his previous plate appearance. One of 5 walks surrendered by Hopkins. This one boomed into left field, but back on it and able to make the grab. Tag up opportunity though. It's going to be a close one, but diving in safely is Watts. Excuse me, is Rojas after Watts was retired on that long ball that flew into left field. So now a runner in scoring position on third. 2 outs. Cooper Jones now due up. Last time we saw Jones, he rocketed in a run after smashing one into right field. Chance to play this one in foul territory, but it's just going to end up in the corner. Ready to fly on first contact is the pinch runner for American Fork. Number 28, Daxton Greening. Two outs in the inning. Wilson, as another is launched into foul territory. 1-2 the count. Wilson gets the Titans out of it and leaves a runner stranded on base. So American Fork scoreless in the bottom of the second. We're moving into the third on KSL Sports Rewind.
Okay. You ain't on my level, then shoot. I can't die. 똑같은 질투 떠너비 올라와. 공기도 달라.
Top of the third, set to begin here at Utah Valley University's UCCU ballpark. Be Isaac Turley, Kyson Curtis, and Dawson Raymond all due up after Hopkins and both Hamblins were retired on ground balls to second, short, and third, respectively. (1-0) the count. This American Fork team, as we mentioned, reached this opportunity after taking down Westlake in that game against Westlake. It was pretty close for most of it. The Thunder actually took the first lead of the game at the top of the third after we were scoreless in the first 2 innings, but then 2 runs added in the bottom of the fourth, 1 more in the bottom of the fifth, and an explosive bottom of the sixth, which included 6 runs for the Cavemen, proved too much for the Thunder to overcome as they fell 9-3 in that one. Strike 1 delivered by Watts. Before that, American Fork defeated Corner Canyon. They scored 5 runs in the bottom of the second and 2 in the third and the fourth. 1 more in the fifth for the Insurance for the 10-0 victory after they nabbed the narrow 2-1 advantage, scoring a run in the bottom of the sixth in the first game against the Chargers to complete the win and advance in the tournament, and now find themselves here against the 14th seeded Titans. Turley heads to first via the walk, the first walk allowed today by Watts. Turley had 2 walks in yesterday's action, also struck out, and had a nice line drive. He launched into right field. Kyson Curtis now due up. Curtis in yesterday's action. Had a line drive right to the shortstop, left 2 on base. Also grounded out to short. Actually, he was safe, but on a fielder's choice, his teammate retired. Also brought in a run on a booming shot to right field. And in his last plate appearance, had a walk. Actually, excuse me, Easton Hamblin actually came in to bat. Those are a lot of Hamblin's numbers. I just listed off as Curtis in the first 2 at-bats. And then the pinch hitter for him and Hamblin had success. Hamblin now in the lineup today. Pickoff attempt down to first, unsuccessful. The Syracuse team that was locked in as soon as the tournament started. The 15-7 win over Granger in Game 1, and then the 18-1 win against the Lancers. They scored 12 runs in the bottom of the second of that second game, and 6 more in the bottom of the third to end the Lancers season and earn the right to face Fremont, who was the 3 seed in our tournament. Falling to 0-2 in the count is Curtis. In the first game between the Titans and Silverwolves, Fremont took care of business, scoring 2 runs at least in the second, third, fourth, and fifth inning for the 9-0 victory. But with the Titans' backs against the walls, they responded. 0-2 the count here. Watts delivers. Curtis rips one into foul territory to stay alive, protecting home plate. In the second game between the Titans and Silverwolves, Syracuse got off to a hot start. They scored 2 runs in the top of the first, a run in the top of the second, third, and fourth, and added 1 more in the top of the seventh as the extra insurance for the 6-2 victory. That was the game that allowed them to answer. And in the one prior to that, Syracuse's defense was lights out, holding Fremont to just 1 run, and they scored a run in the top of the first and fourth to reach this position. This ball's going to settle into shallow right center field. So 2 runners on base. A little bit of momentum for the Titans. The first base hit comes right after the first walk of the day. So Curtis with the base hit. That'll bring up Dawson Raymond. Raymond in yesterday's action. Had a bunt, was retired at first, then grounded out to first, then brought in a run, and then also brought in a run his last at bat via just walking. Raymond the center fielder, with 2 runners on base. Turley at second, Curtis at first. High delivery. Bunt attempt unsuccessful. It ends up in foul territory to even the count at 1-1. It's the 3rd game of the day here. We just got through a bout between Bingham and Pleasant Grove. It was the 2nd straight game that Bingham has defeated an opponent 10-3 after doing the same. Or actually, excuse me, they lost to Mountain Ridge 10-3 and then returned the favor against Pleasant Grove, who lost 10-3. Pleasant Grove nearly upset the top-seeded Skyridge Falcons as they lost 1-0 to the Falcons in extra innings and then go on to give up 10 runs. Just shows you it could be anyone's day at any time. Outside delivery by Watts. 2-1 the count. The American Fourth Faithful, not fans of that call. Two-1 the count. Pick-off attempt, nearly successful. The ball actually squeezed away, but no one really trying to risk getting caught, so everyone will stay situated. American Fork still up 5-0, but still no outs in the inning. Raymond, the last batter in the order, takes ball 3 on the high delivery by Watts. Three-1 the count. Titans looking to load, the bases up. And on the low delivery, Watts does load the bases. Game firmly in the hands of Watts. No action going on in the bullpen for American Fork. Watts talking things over with Rojas. There's Raymond to third, Curtis at second, and Turley in third. So with Turley at third, Austin Burton due back up. Watts struck him out in his first plate appearance. As we mentioned with Burton yesterday, he had a lot of success, especially with that 3-run homer he drilled into left field. Doing so here, a home run in this scenario would be our second grand slam of the day and get them to trail by just 1. Dead center delivery by Watts. Burton also had success when he launched a line drive into right center field. Also reached base on an air on a bobbled line drive and struck out in his final plate appearance before being and was retired in his first plate appearance. But overall, a very successful day for Burton, looking to turn around his luck after striking out in the last at-bat. And the count will even on 1-1 on that high delivery. Watts has walked 2 of the last 3 batters he's faced. Doing so here would put the Titans in position to only trail by 4, as that would allow them to walk in a run. Watts finds the zone. Burton allows it to pass without a swing. Burton, 10 RBIs on the season. The 1 home run he launched yesterday, 1 triple and 5 doubles. Waiting on the delivery from Watts. Ground ball, fielded off the bounce. They'll advance the furthest runner, at least in distance, as they're able to retire Curtis at third, but a run does come in on Burton's grounder after it's fielded cleanly at short by Walker. So the difference in this one, now 5-1, with Tatum Martin now due up. So 2 runners on base. One just came in, 1 out now. With Tatum Martin up for the second time after grounding out to short. The last time we saw him, he chops one, and it breaks through. Titans, as it was bobbled for a moment, and it's going to lead to another run scoring for Syracuse. They now trail by just 3. Martin wasted no time with the hit. For Martin on the season, that was his 13th run brought in. And nearly brought in a few more as it was bobbled for a moment by Murdoch out in left field. So 2 runners still on base. 5-2 the difference in this one. Watts delivers the pitch to Hopkins. Last time we saw Hopkins, he flew out in the right field. Hopkins on the season, 9 runs brought in, 4 doubles, a home run. Doing a home run here would tie this one at 5. It was all American Fork early, but in the top of the third, the Titans have responded. It was a resilient Syracuse team. They were locked in a grudge match yesterday with the 6-seeded Silverwolves. In that game, no runs scored in the first inning. Syracuse added 1 in the top of the second, but then Riverton was added 2 more in the bottom of the second. Chopper in foul territory. We would go scoreless for the next 3 innings. So entering the 6th, it was a 2-1 advantage for the 6-seeded Silverwolves, but the 14th-seeded Titans have been resilient all postseason, and that continued. They added 5 runs in the top of the 6th. The highlight of that was that home run I mentioned by Austin Burton. Hamblin and Raymond also drove in 2 runs to help them to take, at the time, what was a 6-2 lead. 1-2 the count, and they will say that Hopkins reached on it, so he strikes out. Second strikeout of the day for Watts. And with 2 outs now, that'll bring it Taggart Hamblin, who was retired on the quick grounder. Grounded out to second in the previous inning, trying not to leave his teammates stranded on base. Martin on first, Burton at second. 5-2 the count. The pickoff attempt unsuccessful, and as that one sails into the outfield, could have an opportunity for a pickoff attempt, but it will not work. As they tried to trick American Fork, tried to trick him a little bit, acted like the ball escaped him to see if he could get him off the base pad. But Coach Thomas doing a good job telling him to stay. So the pickoff attempt puts both runners in scoring position now. Martin able to make it over to third. Or Burton over to third. Martin is second. Taggart Hamblin looking to bring him in. Hamblin, 32 runs driven in on the season, by far the most of anyone on the team. He lifted this one straight up in the air. Giving chase, called for, and eventually collected by C.J. Mascaro in center field. So that will do it for the top of the third. But the Titans close the deficit to just 3. 5-2 American Fork on the offensive when we come back on KSL Sports Rewind. Bottom of the third for American Fork. McCrew Ingersoll, Coleman Perry, and Gavin Shootover. putting the finishing touches on that game yesterday between Syracuse and Riverton. As I mentioned, those 5 runs scored by Syracuse gave them a 6-2 advantage. Riverton would add a run, making it a 6-3 game. As this one's launched into left field. Going back on and eventually called for by Dawson Raymond, who makes the grab. Coleman Perry now due up. Walked in a run via the RBI the last time we saw him. 1 out now in the inning. But then we entered between Syracuse and Riverton. We entered the explosive top of the 7th. Syracuse added 1 run to make it a 7-3 game, and Riverton would score 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th. They also left 3 runners on base and the tying run on third, when the Titans were able to step up and get a huge strikeout to seal the deal and put themselves still in the winner's bracket, allow them to advance, and then Riverton was in action earlier, as I mentioned. 2-1 the count for Caleb Wilson, pitching in place of Jake Hopkins. Wilson waiting on it. This one rocked into foul territory. 1-2 the count. Just high on the delivery. So ball 2 brings the count to 2-2. Titans looking to make quick work of the bats for American Fork. Already 1 out in the inning, and they're trying to get back on the offensive. This ball ripped into center field, and it's going to bounce right before it reaches the Wolverine logo out there. As Perry with his first base hit of the day. And now, if Gavin Schoonover could get a hit coming up here in a moment, that would mean every Cavemen batter will have gotten a hit. Pinch runner for American Fork is number 28, Daxton Greening, the junior. So Schoonover due up. Last time we saw him, he flew out to right field, but did bring in a run. Schoonover allows ball 1 to pass. Be Schoonover, then Pace with Mascaro in the top of the order up next. Wilson checks first again, focuses on home plate, delivers the pitch. Two-0 the count. Another unsuccessful pickoff attempt. Schoonover fouls one. Off into the bullpen. Or excuse me, the dugout. 2-1 the count. Another unsuccessful pickoff attempt. This ball's lost for a moment and then collected. 3-1 the count now. Schoonover awaiting the delivery. Wilson trying to avoid walking. Ground ball. It's fielded cleanly. Could be a chance at a double play. And they're unable to get it over to second in time, but they are able to make the play over to first to retire Schoonover for the second time today. But Perry now situated on second. Burton fielded it. But it's rather than try to rush and step on the base, just took the easy out. Two outs now in the inning. Runner and Perry on second. Mascaro up for the third time now. Davin Pace back up. He walked the last time we saw him. Fouls this one off, but might have done it into his own foot. 0-1 the count. Won the count. Pace. Awaiting the delivery. It's a low one, but it's trapped. Count goes to 2-1. Reminder, we'll have one more game tonight. Sky Ridge taking on Mountain Ridge, the 1-5 seed, going back and forth. That one was scheduled for 7 o'clock. Look for it to get underway in between 9 and 9:30. And we'll have it all for you here on KSL Sports Rewind, your home for the 2023 5A and 6A Baseball State Championships. Also have lacrosse action currently going on. We had some soccer early today. If you want high school postseason coverage, you can find it on KSL Sports Rewind. Two the count. This one knocks straight up in the air. It's going to be playable, called for by Moore, and Moore makes the grab to leave a Caveman stranded on base for the second straight inning. American Fork's lead remains 3, fourth inning. Up next at UCCU Ballpark. Easton Hamblin, Jake Hopkins, and Isaac Turley all up to bat for the Titans, looking to cut this 5-2 deficit. Easton Hamblin on the season, 12 runs brought in, 4 doubles in 30 games played. Strike one delivered by Watts. Hamblin. Watches the outside delivery pass. It's our 7th tournament game this week. The second played by American Fork and Syracuse. The loser will take on Riverton at 11 o'clock tomorrow. We'll either have a rematch of last year's state championship game or a rematch of our nightcap last night between the Silver Wolves and Titans. It was a thriller, as we highlighted just a little bit ago, the 7-6 win for the 14th seeded Syracuse Titans. This one ripped into right field, back on it, takes a bounce and then goes over the wall. The ground rule double for Easton Hamblin. Titans one step closer to scoring a run. Jake Hopkins now due up. Hopkins back playing left field. We are seeing a meeting taking place on the mound. No one warming up for American Fork. So still firmly Cavemen's game. I mentioned this American Fork team. They reached the state championship last year. They won the first game, but then would fall in the next 2. As the Silver Wolves stole the state championship from them. This group no doubt eager under Coach Ingersoll to get another opportunity at it. Caveman infield coming together, talk about how they want to play this with no outs and a runner on first. Hopkins, in yesterday's action, a base hit in each of his four appearances, First, it was 2 tough hit grounders down the third baseline, but he reached safely on first. Then he launched a double into right field and also rocketed a hard hit ground ball into right field. In the first plate appearance we saw him earlier, he was retired, grounding out to third. Waiting the delivery from Watts here. Hopkins on the season, 20 runs brought in, 6 doubles. Thought about swinging on that one, but pulled back at the last second. Ends up being a wise decision. Rojas and Watts talk things over very quickly. One 0 the count. Low delivery for ball 2, delivered by Watts. And maybe we'll call a balk there. So Hamblin firmly in scoring position, even stronger on third. One 0 the count. Hopkins hits a ground ball. It's fielded cleanly. They're going to try to go home, and that throw is off target. So Hopkins headed for second, and he's going to be able to make it there safely. He was shooting over on third, who tried to collect it and rifle it down to Rojas, but he was unable to do so. So the RBI single turns into a double for Hopkins as he takes second. It's now a 3-5 game. Still just a runner on second. No outs in the inning. Isaac Turley, last time we saw him, he walked. Turley on the season, 8 runs brought in, 3 doubles, and 2 triples. Speedy Turley waiting to tee one off. Turley lets the low delivery through. American Fork fans, a lot of groans right now, not a fan of our home plate umpire strike zone. Two 0 the count. Watts. There was a low pitch, the third straight ball he has thrown. Still no one warming up for American Fork. So the game's still firmly in the hand of Watts. With Westlake being eliminated earlier today, American Fork now the lowest remaining seed in the 6A State Baseball Championship Tournament. And looks like it was another balk that time. So that will allow Turley still at ball 3, but will allow Hopkins to head over to third now. So the tying run at home and the run to pull within 1 currently residing on third. Three 1 the count. Turley finds takes strike 2, so now full count. Watts locks back in, fights his way back in the count. Still no outs in the inning. Short chopper fielded by Watts. And Watts gets it over to first after checking to make sure Hopkins was going to stay. Expertly played by Watts to retire Turley and keep Hopkins on third. Last time we saw Kyson Curtis ripped one into right field. Curtis, 11 runs brought in, 2 doubles on the season. Still just 1 out now. Curtis. That's the low ball, 1 pass. One-0 the count. The outside delivery brings the count to 2-0. Curtis looking to bring in Hopkins with just 1 out. Even a ball into the outfield, a sacrifice fly will do. Strike 1 though. Does he takes a hack and gets nothing there. The winner of this game would have to lose 2 consecutive games to not reach the championship game. Huge stakes as the count goes to 3-1 in the top of the 4th. Won the differential, and Watts brings it to full count once again. Trying to take down Curtis here. Hopkins at third. And Watts gets it done, retiring Curtis. The 3rd strikeout of the day for Dax Watts. Two outs now. A little cold in the infield, but with a light breeze working, but overall pretty good weather now compared to what we had earlier. After our lengthy rain delay. Raymond fouls one off. Raymond on the season, 9 runs brought in. A double, a triple, and 2 homers. Homering here would tie this one up. And would come in a clutch time with 2 outs. Watts looking to make it 3 consecutive outs after surrendering a run in the top of the 4th. Watts finds the zone again. Back-to-back strikes. He's 1 pitch away from leaving Hopkins stranded on third. Raymond waiting for the opportunity to rock one. Watts just outside on the delivery. First ball of the at-bat. Watts refocuses his attention to home plate after checking Hopkins at third. A swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Dax Watts. And he made the previous play to retire Turley all by himself too, getting it over to first. Watts steps up when his team needed it most. And the Titans still trail by 2. Bottom of the 4th, up next. American Fork looking to pour on some more runs at UCCU Ballpark.
Okay. You ain't on my level, then shoot, I can't die. 가슴 질투 떠, 너 be all I
Bottom of the fourth. Up now is CJ Mascaro batting for the third time today. His first at bat, he hit a home run. He get us off to quite the start in the bottom of the first. Last time we saw him, he flew out to left field. Mascaro shows bunt, but pulls back. For Mascaro on the season, that was just his third home run. He's had 20 RBIs. And this one lands fair in the outfield. Mascaro flying. He's going to round second, and they'll have him hold up there. So another big hit to start things for the Cavemen, courtesy of CJ Mascaro. That one just stayed in down the third base line. Ryder Robinson now drew up. He walked in his first plate appearance before grounding out to second in his second at bat. Wilson's been strong for the Titans as he fumbled it for a moment, though, that being him being the catcher and Tatum Martin, and that allowed Mascaro to make it over to third. So in just a couple pitches now, already a runner firmly in scoring position for American Fork, courtesy of CJ Mascaro with the awareness on the base paths. To the count. This one driven into left field, giving chase and making the grab as center field is Raymond, but able to easily score because of the distance put on it was Mascaro. So Robinson with the sacrifice fly into center field. So first out of the inning, no one on base now, but the lead back up to 3. Joshua Rojas now drew up. Last time we saw Rojas, he launched a double of his own out into right field, and before that was retired in deep center field. Rojas with 25 runs brought in to lead everyone on American Fork on the season. Also 3 home runs and 3 doubles. Make that 4 after what we saw earlier tonight. This ball directed down the third base line into foul territory. 2-1 the count after that foul off. 1 out in the inning. And Rojas took that one off the back after being hit by a pitch. He's heading to first.
Now coming to the plate, the pitcher, number 25, Dax Watts.
Watts due up now. Last time we saw him, he flew out to left field. Before that, walked over to first. Over on first, pinch running is once again Daxton Greening. Greening the junior. Pickoff attempt down to first, unsuccessful. 1-0 the count. Watts on the season, 19 runs brought in, 10 doubles and 2 home runs. Also 3-1 on the mound, as he's currently standing there on the defensive end for American Fork, but now up in the batter's box. Count to 2-0. Pickoff attempt down to first, unsuccessful. Watts comfortably ahead in the count. Allows ball 3 to pass by. Strike one delivered by Wilson. Caleb Wilson looking to get back in the count against his fellow pitcher, Dax Watts. Chopper will break through and trying to go for third, and making so successfully, although it was a little close for comfort, was Rojas. Or excuse me, Greening, as he made it to third. They'll call time for a moment as we'll have another pinch runner come on. And for American Fork, with Greening at third, it's going to be Tyson Howard, the junior, taken first. So Howard to first, Greening to second. Or excuse me, Greening to third. Showing off the wheels and why the team trusts him in those situations. So still just one out, 2 runners on base. After Watts' chopper was tough to play. Cooper Jones now due up. Last time we saw Jones, he struck out before that. Drove in the second run of the game after ripping one into right center field. 1-0 the count off the ball delivery. Jones after an unsuccessful pickoff attempt. With 1 double on the year. That run he brought in, just the first one according to the stats provided by Deseret News. Jones launches it into left field. It'll be an RBI single for him as Greening comes home. American Fork recaptured some offensive momentum. Their lead back up to 4 as they hold a 7-3 advantage in the bottom of the 4th.
Number 2, Jet Walker.
Crew Ingersoll now due up. Do see some bodies start to head over to the bullpen for the Titans, and you see why there as Wilson continues to struggle, beaning Ingersoll. Bases loaded, just 1 out. Coleman Perry now due up. The Titans in danger of trailing heavily. Perry, last time we saw him, launched one into center field, and before that, walked to bring in a run. Another inside delivery. So still just 1 out. 1-0 the count. Howard over on third. Ingersoll the second. Perry at first. Or excuse me, Ingersoll at first. Jones is second. And Howard to third now. 7-3 the advantage. 1-1 the count after the foul off by Perry. Perry, 3 runs brought in and 3 doubles on the season. Perry allows ball 3 to pass. Now 2 pitchers currently warming up for the Titans. If Wilson walks in a run, this could be it for him. Perry punches it straight in the air. It's flying high into right field, giving chase, and it'll just end up outside the ballpark. Moore was all over it in right field. Will reset, and now off that foul off, it's full count. Wilson delivers to Perry. Perry punches it straight up, flies high into center field. on the tag-up opportunity. We'll see another run score. So Howard comes home. So that was Jet Walker actually coming in as the pinch runner. So Perry may have been retired on the high flyer, but another run scored, making it an 8-3 advantage. And bring up Gavin Schoonover. 2 runners on base. This one sails and is brought in by the second baseman in Hopkins. So 3 more runs added in the bottom of the 4th. As this is a 5-point game once again. We'll see if American Fork can defend it when we return. Syracuse at the bats. Up next on KSL Sports Rewind. 8-3 the difference as we enter the top of the 5th here in UCCU Ballpark. For the Syracuse Titans, it'll be Austin Burton for the 3rd time today, followed by Tatum Martin and Brock Hopkins in the hole currently. Dax Watts still on the mound after struggling a little bit in the previous inning, but he was able to get the team out of it with 3 clutch out, 2 via the strikeouts, and another one he took care of himself. 1-0 the count. Burton blasts one into left field, and that's fair. It'll be at least a double. Giving chase out there is Murdoch. And diving head first into the base. It's Austin Burton with a booming hit. He drove in a run the last time we saw him. On a hard hit grounder to short. And this one just stays in for the double. Tatum Martin now due up. He also drove in a run on his last plate appearance. After crushing one into left field. He's retired on a grounder in his first plate appearance. Martin makes good contact, but it's fielded cleanly. They'll make the play over to first for the easy out on Martin. As the grab made by Walker, or excuse me, by Jones, who came off a second to collect it. But it did allow a runner to advance, so there is 1 out in the inning now. But Burton over to third. Brock Hopkins due up after striking out the last time we saw him, and before that flying out to right field. Hopkins delivers ball 1. One 1-0 the count. Hopkins fouls that one off. Watts gets Hopkins to bite for strike 2. In the previous inning, Watts did surrender a run to the Titans, but was in danger of letting up a lot more. He was able to hold on strong and get them out of it, trying to do the same in this one. Brock Hopkins 1 and 2 in the count, 1 out in the inning. Low delivery that time, trapped. Two the count. Watts looking for his 4th strikeout. Or excuse me, it would be number 5 if he could capture it with this delivery. And he's got it. Huge pitching from Dax Watts. Now 2 outs. Hopkins still stranded on 3rd, trying to come home. Taggart Hamblin going to attempt to bring him home. Flew out to center field the last time we saw him, and before that, grounded out to 2nd. Flew out to center field, excuse me, then grounded out to 2nd. Taggart Hamblin awaiting the 1-0 delivery. Watts able to even the count at 1-1 after forcing Hamblin to bite on that delivery. Hamblin allows that one to pass slightly high on the delivery by Watts. Watts dials in for the delivery. Hamblin bites on another. Watts just 1 pitch away from getting his team back on the offensive in the bottom of the 5th. Hamblin allows the low delivery through. Full count. Tatum Martin made it over to 3rd. It's been stuck there for a little bit. Brock Hopkins struck out. Hamblin trying to avoid doing the same. Watts ended the previous inning with back-to-back Ks to get American Fork out of it. Can he do so again in the top of the 5th? Watts on the low delivery, walks Hamblin. 3rd batter he's walked today. And now Easton Hamblin will be due up. Hamblin grounded out short the last time we saw him. And before that, blasted the ground rule double into right field. We're going to have a pinch runner come on, and it's going to be Bodie Jensen. So Jensen to 1st. Martin still at 3rd. Watts on the mound. 1 out away from getting his team out of it. The difference is 5, 8-6 right now. American Fork leads the hitting department 6-4. Each team charged with 2 errors apiece. Pickoff attempt down to 1st, unsuccessful. Two outs, Hamblin, Easton Hamblin that is, awaiting the delivery. Bites on the pitch to fall 0-1 in the count. Watts got himself out of the jam in the previous inning as we discussed. Trying to do so again here. It'll require 2 more pitches if he wants to do it via the strikeout. Hamblin skies it. Directly to Walker at short. And once again, runners stranded on base for the Titans. They still trail by 5. We're headed into the 5th on KSL Sports Rewind.
No run, 1 hit, no errors.
Titans back on the defensive end after they let a great opportunity slip through their fingers in the top of the 5th. American Fork on the offensive. American Fork, if they were able to recapture what they did early on and score at this one, launched into left field, and it's going to be easily collected. So Davin Pace was due up there, flew out to first the last time we saw him, and was retired there after flying out into left field. CJ Mascaro due up for the 4th time now. First time we saw him was that home run over the advertisements into right field. Then was retired on a fly out into left field. This ground ball just ends up in foul territory. And then he had a double that he launched into left field. 8-3 the difference. 1 out already. Titans down to their final 6 outs. American Fork could be down to their final 6 in terms of trying to extend it. They could, of course, use 3 more in the bottom of the 7th if forced to. High delivery there. A reminder, the difference between this and the previous 2 games we've had, Syracuse will not be done. They will move into the loser's bracket and would take on Riverton if the score were to currently hold, or if the Titans were able to come back, they would send American Fork down into that game at Riverton. The loser plays at 11 o'clock tomorrow. The winner won't be in action until 4:30. 2-1 the count currently. They're still rolling with Wilson at the moment. He struggled in the previous inning a little bit, giving up those 3 runs, but was able to get the team out of it. And 4 balls delivered and 5 pitches allows Mascaro to head to first.
Designated hitter, number 7, Ryder Robinson.
Ryder Robinson now due up. Last time we saw him, he drove in a run on an RBI into center field. Before that, he grounded out to second and walked. The designated hitter's had a productive day so far, looking to keep it going here with 1 out. Trying to steal second and successfully doing so was CJ Mascaro. Wasted no time. That came off the ball delivery there. Robinson launches it into right field, sailing in the air. Giving chase and coming over to make the grab was the center fielder in Dawson Raymond. Ryder Robinson retired in left center field with the center fielder and Raymond making the grab. Joshua Rojas now due up, was hit by a pitch the last time we saw him. Before that, rocketed one into right field for a double, and then flew out to deep center field in his first plate appearance. 2 outs in the inning, Mascaro on second. Caleb Wilson's been pretty strong, although we are going to see a meeting on the mound take place as Coach Tompkins jogs out to talk things over with the Titans infield. Mentioned that night game between the Falcons and Mountain Ridge. They'll get underway 30 minutes after this one, and we're actually going to have a pitching change. So as Wilson steps off the mound, we'll tell you about who they turn to in a moment on KSL Sports Rewind. Back here inside UCCU Ballpark, where we just had a pitching change. And Caleb Wilson's day may be over, but in his place comes Jackson Golder, the senior, 5'11", 165, trying to close out the top of the fifth, or excuse me, the bottom of the fifth, with the last out needed. He's set to take on Rojas. Strike one delivered by the senior. Golder, mindful of Mascaro on second. Outside on that delivery, and could have a pickle opportunity, but instead it's poked away just off the glove. Mascaro was leading a little too far off second. And then on the throw from behind home plate from Martin, it was just off target. Mascaro now over on third, looking to make this a 6-run game. Golder on the season, seen limited action. Jake Hopkins on the season, his 5-2 record in danger as they currently trail 8-3 down to their final 6 outs. 2-1 the count. Rojas thought about swinging, pulls back. Looks like he's mad at himself for that decision on pulling back. 2-2 the count. Rojas gives home plate a tap, flips the bat back up, and waits the delivery from Golder. Rojas rips one into right field, back on it, and making the grab with his backhand, basically. Wow, what a weird angle he had to make it at. On the move was Dawson Raymond. So American Fork forced to leave a runner stranded on base in Mascaro, and we're on to the 6th on KSL Sports Rewind at UCCU Ballpark. 5 innings in the books, and the 6th set to get underway. Watts was due up to bat next, but instead he's returning to his position on the mound to face off against the starting pitcher on the day for the Titans, who didn't make it through the first after giving up 5 runs, in Jake Hopkins, followed by Isaac Turley and Kason Curtis, all due up. Titans down to their final 6 outs if they want to stay in the winner's bracket. Hopkins pulls back on the low delivery from Watts. There are other pitchers currently warming up for American Fork. Two-0 the count. Watts looking to get back into the zone. Won't come on the high delivery there. Count goes to 3-0. Rojas heads up to the mound to talk things over with him. Watts on the season, 3-1 the record. Just 6 outs away from closing out a victory here, and putting American Fork in a position where they will wait to see what happens between Riverton and Syracuse in the scenario I just laid out. Watts on target. 3-1 the count now. Hopkins brought in a run the last time we saw him, ripping one in right field, and before that grounded out to third. He heads to first on the inside delivery for ball 4. Turley now due up, walked the first time we saw him, and then was retired at first after a slow roller hit to the pitcher. It's gotten a little darker out here. 61 degrees, but feels colder than that with the wind whistling. Throw over to first, unsuccessful. 0-1 the count. Eight to 3 the difference. American Fork with 6 hits to just 4 for Syracuse. 3-2 the difference in errors. Syracuse leads that category. One runner on first with Hopkins there. Turley allows the inside delivery for the 1-1 count. Turley looking to tee one off and try and turn things around for the Titans, who still trail by 5. The chopper fielded cleanly. Oh, it was bobbled for a moment. Is the throw going to get over to first in time? I don't think he did. Wow. It was shoe over on third, who couldn't quite squeeze it into his glove, and because of that, Hopkins to second and Turley to first. Air department now even at 3. Still no outs. Just going to see a pinch hitter come on instead of Curtis, who struggled a little bit here. That pinch hitter for Syracuse is going to be Carson Miles. Curtis's day so far, he ripped one into right field for a base hit, but his last at-bat struck out. Coach Thomas decides to roll with Miles here. Syracuse looking for their 61st win of the season. Or excuse me, their 61st win of Coach Thomas's career. As for Coach Ingersoll, it'd be win number 367 after win 366 yesterday. So a full year's worth of wins for the longtime and legendary coach, Jared Ingersoll of American Fork. 0-2 the count. Watts has gotten his team out of some jams a couple times here in the past 2 innings. Looks to do so again. Miles goes down swinging. So the pinch hitter, the change, but the same results as Curtis and Miles each strike out in the 8th spot. Dawson Raymond now due up, walked in his first plate appearance, and then struck out the last time we saw him, leaving a runner stranded on base in the process. 1 out. Hopkins at second, Turley at first. Hopkins has been on fire when it comes to hitting and reaching base. He's only grounded out once, and outside of that, reached base in every other plate appearances. Overall, he's reached base 7 times in 8 at-bats. The bunt pulled back by Raymond, the center fielder. 1-0 the count with 1 out. Austin Burton on deck. We know what he can do after launching that 3-run homer yesterday. Doing so here could really turn things around for the Titans. Raymond shows bunt, places it perfectly down the third baseline. Barehanded and recovered. The throw over by Schoonover is successful as he gets it to Perry at first. But both base runners advance. 2 outs now, though. But Burton up to bat. 2 runners in scoring position with Hopkins at third, Turley at second.
The shortstop, number 7, Austin Burton.
Burton, last time we saw him, launched one into left field. Before that, drove in a run on a tough hit grounder to short, and then struck out in his first at-bat. Mentioned that 3-run homer into left field, also had a pair of powerful line drives. Watts delivers strike 1. Oh, 0-1 the count. Watts. Burton nearly bit on it, probably should have swung. It was a strike. 0-2 the count. Watts looking to get American Fork out of the top of the 6th, surrendering no runs for the 2nd straight inning. If he can deliver a 3rd strike here. Instead, Watts beans Burton. Bases now loaded. Tatum Martin due up. Martin grounded out to 2nd the last time we saw him. Before that, drove in a run after cracking one in the left field. Also grounded out to short in his first plate appearance. Martin in yesterday's game had a big booming hit into left field. Doing so here would allow 1 to potentially 2 runs score. 5 points the difference. Walker comes over to talk with Watts. Back to turn to a little bit of an infield meeting as Rojas also makes his way up. Martin to looking to make a mega play for his team. Cavemen have multiple pitchers warming up, but Watts still firmly in the game, still firmly in his control. Ball 1 delivered. Martin away in the delivery. 2 outs in the inning. Watts with his back against the wall. So it's popped straight up in the air. Called for and collected by CJ Mascaro. This center fielder makes a huge play for American Fork. Titans down to their final 3 outs, but American Fork looking to extend the lead first when we return on KSL Sports Rewind. Once again, Dax Watts able to get American Fork out of a pickle. He's delivered 100 pitches exactly. By comparison, the opposing pitcher for the Titans. He's only thrown 5 so far, that being Jackson Golder. And Watts, after making so many great plays on the mound, up to bat. Watts, last time we saw him reach base safely on a chopper. He slammed in between 1st and 3rd, then launched one in the left field where he was retired and walked in his first at-bat. Rojas flew out to center to leave 1 on for American Fork. Cavemen looking to extend their lead. Low delivery for ball 2. Two won the count. Watts. Now count at 3-1. He's able to walk for the 2nd time today over to first. Wouldn't be surprised to see him followed by a pinch runner in a moment. And he will be, in fact. As taking his place is going to be Payson Howard. So Howard to first. With Cooper Jones now due up. He's brought in 2 runs for the Cavemen in the 1st inning, and then going back to the bottom of the 4th. Did so again with a shot into center field and left field respectively. Struck out in between those runs he brought in. Pops this one straight up in the air. Called for by Hopkins, who makes the grab coming off the base pad.
Shortstop, number 2, Jet Walker.
Jet Walker now due up. Earlier, I believe I was saying Ingersoll. That was just an issue on my part. The American Fork batting lineup we were given was a little difficult to read. The ink didn't penetrate always too on the scorecard. But look at Walker's day so far. Hit by a pitch the last time we saw him, then flew out to center field and a walk before that. Still a runner on first, 1 out. First ball delivered by Jackson Golder. Low delivery fielded cleanly by Martin as he's able to trap it. 2-0 the count. Walker waiting on it. And ball 3 now delivered by Golder. No one warming up for the Titans. So the game firmly in the hands of Senior and Golder. Walker looking to walk for the second time today. He's reached base in all but one of his plate appearances. And it will be a walk for Walker. So Howard to second, Walker to first. And that'll bring up Holman Perry. Last time we saw him flew out to center field, but did bring in a run back in the bottom of the 4th. Before that, reached base safely after rocketed one into center field, and also brought in a run via a walk in his first at-bat. Do see some bodies start to head over to the bullpen now for the Titans. Beautiful breaking ball comes in. So 2 runners on, 1 out. Golder. High on the delivery, brings the count to 1-1. Perry grounds one. It's fielded cleanly. Opportunity for a force out at third. They make it, but they can't make the play over to first in time. So Perry safe at first. Howard retired at third. On the fielder's choice. So 2 outs now. Over his second is Walker. It's Gavin Schoonover now due up. First delivery high by Golder. It's going over. Allows the low delivery through for ball 2. Titans need just 1 more out to get back on the offensive and try to score 5 runs. Can they do it in the top of the 7th? American scored 5 in the bottom of the 1st. So I don't see why they can't. Schoonover. Let's strike 1. Passing by. So 2-1 the count. Golder looking to even the count at 2. Trying to leave Walker and Perry stranded on base. Schoonover takes a hack, gets nothing. 2-2 the count. Schoonover set for the delivery. That one off the target. We got full count. The Titans either going to load the bases up or get out of the inning. Schoonover flew out to right field in his first plate appearance, drove in a run though, and flew out to leave 2 on to second. This one a rocket in a shallow right field, and it's bringing in a run for American Fork. Walker comes in. 9-3, a 6-run advantage for the Cavemen. As they continue to have the hot bat, up to 10 runs overall now in the game. Excuse me, actually just still at 9 runs. Our scoreboard a little off for a second, so mine is correct, so it is 9. 9-3. Scoreboard in the outfield says 10, but at the moment it is 9-3. 7 hits overall now for the Cavemen. Schoonover over on first after driving in another run. On third is Perry after Walker was brought in off the big shot from Schoonover. Gavin Pace now due up. Pace with the walk and flew out to right to first and was retired in left field. This ground ball ends up in foul territory. 2 outs. So Perry ready to fly on first contact. Our previous game ended 10-3. This one could end in a similar fashion if the Titans don't get hot in the top of the 7th and American Fork is able to score another run here. Pace. 0-1 the count. Excuse me, 1-1 off the ball. The infield comes together to talk things over for the Titans. As everyone goes back and resets. A reminder, our final game of the day between Sky Ridge and Mountain Ridge, our 1-5 game will be 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one. So probably looking for a start time around 9:30 at the moment, but we'll update you on that if it changes. 2-1 the count. Golder delivers an outside pitch. He's in danger of loading the bases. Pace takes a hack, gets nothing, full count. Pace trying to load the bases up or bring in a run with a base hit. Golder trying to get the Titans out of the bottom of the 6th. Pace fouls it off, so we'll reset and do it all again. Pace doing everything he can to protect home plate. Full count. Jackson Golder fires the pitch, and it's fouled off again. So Pace and Golder just trying to build the suspense of the moment with a couple foul offs. Full count. Pace skies it. This one they might have a chance at. In fact, they won't. It ends up in the bleachers. So the 3rd straight ball fouled off as Pace and Golder continue to go at it.
Please return on ball in their dugout.
Davin Pace looking for his first base hit of the day or his second walk. Golder looking for his first strikeout. This one lifted in the shallow right field, and it's collected by Hopkins, who came off second to field it. So that will bring an end to the 6th. We're heading for the 7th. 9-3 the difference. Does Syracuse have 6 runs in them to tie this one up? Stay with us to find out on KSL Sports Rewind. American Fork looking to punch their ticket in the first spot of our winners bracket. What's at stake here for the Cavemen? They're 3 outs away from closing out the win, sending Syracuse down to play Riverton at 11 o'clock tomorrow. They would play the winner of that game at 4 o'clock, and they would have to lose 2 games in order to not reach the 6A state championship game. So securing their place in the Final Four for 6A. 3 outs away from doing it. Hopkins up first, followed by Taggart and Easton Hamblin. One-0 the count. The grounder ends up in foul territory, evening the count at 1-1. Watts has delivered 102 pitches now. The last 3 innings, runners have reached third, and every single time Watts has gotten out of it. In the 4th, he only surrendered 1 run, but outside of that has come up huge. Every time his team has needed to, Watts has responded. There are bodies in the bullpen should the Cavemen need it, but American Fork hoping Watts can close the deal for him. This one lifted into shallow left field, and the shortstop Walker comes off to make the grab. 1 down, 2 to go for American Fork. So Hopkins retired for the 4th time today. They'll now bring up Hamblin. They need 6 runs in order to get back into this one. The Titans do. Hamblin allows strike 1 through. Last time we saw Hamblin, Taggart Hamblin that is, he was able to walk, and before that flew out to center field and grounded out to second. Watts delivers a low pitch, bringing the count to 1-1 for the 2nd straight batter. A reminder, our nightcap between the Sky Ridge Falcons and Mountain Ridge Sentinels scheduled for 30 minutes after the conclusion of this game. 1-1 the count. This one fouled off. Back behind us in the bleachers. Count now at 1-2. Watts looking for his 6th strikeout of the day, and to put American Fork 1 out away from closing the deal here. Taggart Hamblin. Lets the high pitch through, 2-2 the count. And strike 3 delivered by Watts. His 6th of the day takes down Hamblin. 1 out away from punching their ticket in the Final Four and in the semis. Rojas makes his way up to Watts. We could see a pitching change coming up here. In fact, we will. Watts, what a performance. 6 strikeouts, only allowed 4 hits, 3 runs in total. That will do it for Dax Watts. All the American Fork dugout out to greet their star pitcher after an incredible performance. The Cavemen faithful take to their feet to applaud him as he exits. We'll let you know who American Fork has turned to get the final out against Easton Hamblin when we come back to UCCU Ballpark on KSL Sports Rewind. Watts' day is over, and what a day it was. He nearly went the distance, but for the final out, American Fork has decided to turn to Gabriel Hollenbach, the junior, looking to retire Easton Hamblin and end the game. 9-3 the advantage. Syracuse down to their final out. Easton Hamblin crushes one into foul territory. Hamblin's day so far, grounded out to second. Then had the ground rule double. He launched into right field. Then was retired at set short to leave 2 on base the last time we saw him, trying to extend the game here. 0-1 the count after that foul off. And he goes to 0-2 in the count. He's trying to do everything he can to protect home plate. Hollenbach, 1 pitch away from allowing the 7th-seeded American Fork Cavemen an opportunity to advance. Hollenbach, slightly low on that delivery for ball 1. One to the count, 2 outs. After Hopkins was retired at short, Hamblin struck out. Easton Hamblin trying not to follow, and Taggart's Hamblin's up with another strikeout. This one chopped, slow roll to first, fielded cleanly, and American Fork is advancing. They take care of the Titans. So the Cavemen, the 7th seed in our tournament, will move on to face the winner of tomorrow's 11 o'clock game between the Riverton Silverwolves, the 7th seeded Silverwolves, set for the rematch against the Syracuse Titans. The Titans beat the Silverwolves once, 7-6. It was a great battle. We expect this one to be as well, but Coach Ingersoll and his squad get it done off a great pitching performance from Dax Watts, some big-time hits from Mascaro, Robinson, Rojas, Jones, Walker, Perry, Schoonover, Pace, and Jones too. Everyone around getting it done, including Watts. So that will do it. 9-3 your final. American Fork advances and sends Syracuse down to the loser's bracket. So American Fork in action at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Syracuse in action at 11. Stay with us in 30 minutes. We will have our final nightcap, as it will be Sky Ridge taking on Mountain Ridge. 30 minutes from now, right around 9:30. We thank you for tuning in to the 6A Baseball State Championships on KSL Sports Rewind. American Fork defeats Syracuse 9-3.